Well, hello, my baby gorillas, and where have you been, Dave? Everybody's asking me that. Where have you been? I have been banned for medical misinformation. Now, the Guerilla TV has never proclaimed to be anything to do with medicine. I have no medical knowledge, and I don't give medical information. So I don't know how YouTube are banning us. I think YouTube are banning us through the use of let me just check that this is actually working, guys. Through the use of speaking to people.
Introducing Defense.com, the innovative way to manage your cybersecurity, including everything your business needs to easily tackle new.
Banning us through the use of let me just check this. So I'm a bit oversaturated here, and I think I'm a bit big as well. Let's see if we can't adjust this slightly to make sure that we're getting the best quality picture. I think I will just shrink me a wee bit here. That looks about right. Transition. And I'm a bit sort of glowing. I don't know if there's too many lights on me, but I was struggling with the saturation. That's why I'm a wee slightly late. What else we've got to do here? Filters. Let's go on the filters. See if we can't get this even better. Tickety boo. Come on then. What's going on? See again. Try and do something. Filters. Come on. And it's not coming up now. That is absolutely super. Maybe you can't do it. No, you can do it. Well, anyway, it's close enough. It's not too bad that we can't actually get seen. So, what have we got? What have we got here, ladies and gents? I've got so much to talk to you about. It's just unbelievable the amount of overwhelming information that is coming through. But I want to stick to on topics subjects. So let's go back out of here and talk about Ron Desantis. Ron Desantis. So obviously Ron Desantis did very well in the elections in Florida. And other political commentators like David Rubin and Tim Poole, I think. But most importantly, the one, the only, Count Dankula. Ron Desantis. So, where are you? You did a wee thing on that the other day there. Count Dankula. You think they would actually give you, seeing these sort of searches, you would think, I don't know what the problem is with, so when you go into filter and get the most up to date with Count Dankula and Ron DeSantis, it gives you a whole bunch of other suggestions, that none of which are the video that I'm actually looking for. Let's look at it from another way. Always more than one ways to skin a cat, but it's just very annoying. They're obviously doing it deliberately. Where are we? I think it might be channel 2. Yeah, here we go, here we go. So I wonder if I can invert this over here. Can I change this position and invert it? How can I invert it? Transition. Move up. Transform. Rotate 90. No. No. Where are we? Video capture. No. No. I don't know how this is coming across. Order. What I want to do is flip it. Transform. Flip vertically. Right, we don't want that, so we want to go. That's very clever. So that's us back to the beginning, and order, transform, flip horizontally, flip vertically. No. Edit transformation, flip horizontally. Yeah, I want to be looking this way. How did I get looking that way? How did I invert it? Let's see if we can do this. Full screen, preview. Transform. Reset 90, flip horizontally, full screen, stretch screen, center vertically. Anyway, I'm going to have to look this way. So, let's hear what the count has got to say. Come on, Mr. Count. Let's hear it.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's happening again. It's happening. It's right now. I have a few different opinions of this. However, we'll go through the article and then I shall. We'll discuss at the end. We always do. Donald Trump says he'll run for president again in 2024. 6 days ago, because that's how on the ball I am with videos. Because, I mean, when you've got a pregnant wife at home, yeah, I'm very busy all the time.
So is that child number 2? Congratulations, Count Dankula of Cumbernauld.
Former US President Donald Trump has launched his third bid for the White House, declaring America's comeback starts right now.
That's absolutely great. There shouldn't be anything else other than that. Now, there's a lot of fanboys for Desantis, which is not a problem. Desantis is great. Dave Rubin, Tim Poole are all asking, President Trump's a bit controversial. My goodness, they've lost a backbone very quickly. The reality is that Donald has already got a pedigree. Although Ron has got a pedigree in Florida as a good and competent governor, and he will make a good president. What you guys need to understand is that if you are fanboys of Desantis, that it's better for Desantis becoming Donald Trump's vice president. Firstly, that saves him from a costly war that he might not win. If Donald gets him, that's beneficial for Donald as well, for the Hispanic vote. Also, Ron's competent as well, so it benefits Donald as well. And the two of them together would be pretty much the dream team, the dream ticket. Now, that's the ideal situation from outside looking in. Whether or not that's going to happen with personalities, egos and everything else is a different kettle of fish. But that from, and also there might be information that they know about each other that we do not have privy to. But as Donald can only spend another 4 years, and he was highly competent the first 4 years that he spent in the White House, that he can only spend another 4 years in the White House anyway. And Donald's already got a proven track record as the president, that it's not Ron's time. Now, if you're a Ron DeSantis fan, and there's nothing wrong with that, then 4 years as Donald Trump's vice president, you're saving money from actually competing against Donald for both parties, because what both parties have to do is concentrate their fire on the battleground states, which is only a handful, maybe less than 10. And that's where they need to spend the time and effort, attacking the Democrats in their cities and in their own backyard. That's where the mess from what was a red wave in the popular vote didn't actually transpire into the popular vote in these individual constituencies. So, and the Democrats, for some obscure reason, continue to hold the Senate. But what Donald has to do is bring in Ron as his deputy. It would shore up the Hispanic vote, which is obviously very big in America as well. First Hispanic president of the United States. Ron does look very competent anyway. And it gives Ron potentially 12 years in and about the house, the White House, rather than just 8. Even if for some reason that Ron was actually able to beat Donald in the actual election, that means that they would only get Ron DeSantis would only get 8 years, even if he held the 2 terms. If he became the vice president first, which would also give him a political leg into the highest offices, and then which would break his teeth into the run in for the White House, and then he would get another 8 years on the back of that. So he would get 12 years potential all in. Whereas you would only get 8 years even if Ron was to beat Donald Trump, which I don't think is a guarantee, which you really don't want both of them spending millions of pounds trying to defeat each other. When both of them win, for Donald saying to Ron DeSantis, become the vice president, they both save money, and then Ron is a pretty much a shoe-in after the 4 years of Trump's term. That's the correct political decision from a outside standpoint, looking in with no inside information. But that is what a good political decision would be. Now, whether or not that's going to happen, if there's egos and everything else, but that's what should happen. So, in that way, if you're a fanboy of Ron DeSantis, 4 years as vice president, 8 years as president. Whereas if you go up against Trump and you don't win, then you also might not be taken on as well with Trump potential supporters. Or Ron could actually not get selected as VP and just go in 4 years, where he would be more inclined to have the mass of the Trump supporters at his back as well. He may not be forgiven for taking down Donald Trump, but carry on, Dank.
At his Florida estate, he said, "We have to save our country." Mr. Trump's announcement comes as some fellow Republicans blame him for the party's lacklustre performance in last week's midterm elections.
Well, they get 3 million additional votes, so I don't know if it's lacklustre. I think it's been lacklustre in certain areas where they have I don't understand how it's taking weeks and weeks to actually process a vote. You should have to vote on the day. The gerrymandering through ballot harvesting and postal votes, there's some major question marks there. You should have to go put your mark on the day and show ID, and it should all be done on the day, counted on the day. We have problems with postal votes as well.
I mean, I think there was other reasons for that. There was other reasons, you know. Takes a long time to count those mail-in votes.
That should be happening.
President Joe Biden, who defeated Mr. Trump 2 years ago, has said he may run for re-election in 2024. Speaking to an invited crowd from the ballroom of his Mar-a-Lago private club in Palm Beach on Tuesday night, Mr. Trump, 76, says we are a nation in decline, which is correct. For millions of Americans, the past 2 years...
Not necessarily. I think we've become nations in decline because we're listening to Baldy Dr. Evil, who's praising China, WEF, Klaus Schwab, the commie, apparently. And we've got Jeremy Cunt as a communist sympathising conservative. I told you, the Conservative Party, the only thing the current Conservative Party are conserving is modern day communism, and probably because the Conservative Party are just a WEF shill party, just like Labour, just like SNP, just like the Liberal Liberals, just like the Welsh Democrats, just like the Green Party. They're all shilling for a communist WEF who's putting down communist ideals into every British mainstream political party.
Years under Joe Biden have been a time of pain, hardship, anxiety and despair, which is also correct. He continued, in order to make America great and glorious again, I am tonight announcing my candidacy for President of the United States.
Great. That's it, great. And declare Desantis as your VP, and you've won a watch. That's it. Bob's your uncle, Fanny's your aunt.
Shortly before the speech, he filed paperwork with the Federal Election Commission, formally declaring his presidential candidacy and setting up a fundraising account. Outside Mar-a-Lago, supporters gathered to wave Trump 2024 flags. Mr. Trump's speech lasted for more than an hour and touched on many of the same themes he had been repeating on stage for months. These include border security, energy independence and crime, all very important things, as well as attacks on Mr. Biden's record in office. I bet that was the longest part of the speech.
Very good, thank.
His wife, Melania Trump, joined him on stage at the end of the speech, but there were fewer family members present than at some of his past events, and Ivanka Trump and Donald Jr. did not attend. Journalists like to throw this stuff in to make it look like his own family disapproved. There was probably valid reasons why they weren't there. Following Mr. Trump's announcement, Ivanka, who had previously served as a senior advisor in her father's administration, released a statement saying she was taking a step back from politics and would not be involved in the 2024 campaign. This time around, I'm choosing to prioritise my young children and the private life we are creating as a family, she wrote, which is probably because she couldn't cope with all the harassment and everything that she was getting, which, I mean, you know, focusing on the kids, yeah, that's fine. Nearly 11,000 miles away at the G20 summit in...
Here's another thing that Dank should do. Dank should, even as a paper candidate, continue to understand, especially now if he's had another child in the way, but all he really needs to do is put his name as a paper candidate in any election for the Scottish Libertarian Party, which will be beneficial for the Scottish Libertarian Party. Get the signatures, which won't really take you too much time, and just stand as a paper candidate, make some announcements on your YouTube channels. It's still going to be more beneficial than a lot of other people. By not standing, then it's not given the opportunity for the Scottish Libertarian Party to advance. So my advice is continually stand for the Scottish Libertarian Party and do episodes, podcasts before each of the elections that highlight certain beneficial attributes of the Scottish Libertarianism. So I would continue to stand, even if you've got children, if you've got other commitments, even as a paper candidate, because the Scottish Libertarian Party can make gains, even though that you're a paper candidate, even when you put out a couple of podcasts relating to any future election. And what that'll do is that'll increase the vote turnout.
In Bali, Indonesia, Mr. Biden, 79, was asked whether he had a reaction to Mr. Trump's announcement. No, not really, the Democratic president said. Last week, he was filmed laughing when a reporter suggested...
He's probably... What did they say? I've got the biggest fraud, election fraud process in history. Does that know what Biden said last time? I wonder if that's going to be kicking in again.
Trump's support base remains strong. Mr. Trump's unusually early declaration for the election of 5th November 2024 is being seen as a tactic to steal a march on potential rivals for the Republicans' White House nomination, which I believe is Desantis.
Oh, say that again?
Republicans' White House nomination, which I believe to steal a march on potential rivals for the Republicans' White House nomination, which I believe is Desantis.
Good stuff, mate. Good stuff. Let's hear that again.
Last week, he was filmed laughing when a reporter suggested Mr. Trump's support base remains strong. Mr. Trump's unusually early declaration for the election of 5th November 2024 is being seen as a tactic to steal a march on potential rivals for the Republicans' White House nomination, which I believe is Desantis.
As I said, it's not in DeSantis' interest. Now, he could stand, he could win 8 years, but there's more variables in him losing. He could lose to Trump and then piss off the Trump supporters. So that might affect him when he stands again the next time. There's too many variables. It's in DeSantis and Donald Trump's interest for Donald Trump to actually have DeSantis as his VP, and for DeSantis not to run just now. It's not in either one of their political strategic interests for them to fight each other, or for Ron not to eventually become the president anyway. So,
although
I don't think he's going to worry about Mike Pence and Kanye West or Ye.
Mr. Trump is the first to enter the race and instantly becomes the front runner. He is expected to face challengers. They may include his own former Vice President Mike Pence, or the traitor, as we like to call him, who is 63, and rising star Florida Governor Ron DeSantis. In Tuesday's remarks, Mr. Trump largely steered clear of rehashing his baseless claims that the 2020 election had been stolen from him by mass voter fraud.
Yeah, baseless.
You know, baseless. He left office after one term in 2021, refusing to acknowledge his defeat by 7 million votes. He has debunked...
He left office in 2021, refusing to acknowledge his defeat by postal vote. Just turning up to beat him.
Conspiracy theories have not been debunked. Riled up supporters who rioted at Capitol...
If you haven't watched 2,000 Mules, go and watch 2,000 Mules.
So how in the final days of his presidency as lawmakers met to certify President Biden's victory. I was really strange, like the January 6th thing, because Trump never actually said to people to do that. He never told people to storm the fucking building, cause chaos, riot and all that type of stuff. And then the weird thing is a lot of people
like this way,
got arrested for going into the building, except those really, really weird guys that were like outside telling everyone to do it for like the last couple of days.
I think they're called the feds.
Did you notice that? I noticed that. Those guys, I mean, they had like the crew car and all that stuff, clean shaven, you know, they had posture of someone who might have held an authoritative position or something like that, the type of language and everything like that they used. Those particular guys, even though we have a mountain of footage of them, those guys never get caught. Except people who were just in the background of videos with just a mask on and all that, and you had no idea who they were, they got caught. It's really weird how the guys that outside that actually instigated the whole thing never got caught. Have you noticed? That's really strange. I wonder who those people were. They probably have names 3 letters long. Mr. Trump became the first president ever to be impeached twice, and both impeachments failed. Get mad. Although congressional Democrats were thwarted in their bid to remove him from office by Senate Republicans. He ploughed ahead with his announcement on Tuesday, despite pleas from advisors to postpone until after a runoff election for a Senate seat in Georgia next month, amid fears his candidacy could prove too much of a distraction. Some conservatives have blamed Mr. Trump for the Republicans' failure to achieve sweeping victories in last week's midterm elections. The party is on the verge of taking power in the US House of Representatives, but it would be by a razor-thin margin. Democrats have retained control of the Senate and may even bolster their majority after the December runoff in Georgia. Last week's results were decidedly mixed for congressional hopefuls endorsed by Trump. Candidates he supported in key states such as Pennsylvania, Arizona, fucking... God damn it. And Michigan were defeated after echoing his election.
Have you ever watched Homes Under the Hammers and thought, I would love to have a go at doing that? Taking properties like
conspiracies, while others won in Ohio, Wisconsin, and North Carolina. Mr. Trump's White House bid comes as he is investigated on several fronts. Obviously, they are trying to destroy him because they don't want him to come back, including...
Yeah, that's another reason you should actually want him to come back, because you're exactly right, that is exactly what they're trying to do. And that's another reason you should want Trump back.
The Justice Department investigation into the removal of files marked as classified from the White House to Mar-a-Lago at the end of his presidency. He is admired by conservatives for installing 3 Supreme Court justices and enacting sweeping tax cuts, as well as presiding over a Middle East peace deal and the killing of Islamic State's leader, as well as getting Kim Jong-un to calm down a good bit. But America's divisions widened during his 4 tumultuous years in office, as he was accused of governing by tweet, equivocating over far-right violence, which he...
It's just nonsense.
...actually did not do. People were even proving that. Oh, he said find people on both sides, blah, blah, blah. And then people were like, yeah, he did say that. And then people were going, here, watch the video and get the full context.
That's right, Dan, you tell him.
And then people were even after seeing the video and realising that he didn't really do that, they were like, yeah, but he's still blah, 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 because everyone's just fucking neck deep in the Kool-Aid now, which is why democracy's failed. A chaotic response to the coronavirus pandemic and alienating US allies with his America First policy, which is extremely strange because, from my understanding, if you are the leader of a country, then your country is supposed to come first. That, I don't know. I thought anything outside of that was just really, really fucking weird. You know, like sending billions and billions to other countries. Ukraine, I meant Ukraine. And that's the end of the article. Now, here's a little bit of a nuanced take. Right, I'm saying that far too much now to the point where it's getting fucking cringe. Right.
Yeah, I know what you're going to say in your political analysis here. It's correct up to a point, but off. But sometimes it's okay to have it. You just need to correct it, and I'll correct it for you just now.
For meme and banter potential.
No, not for meme and banter potential. Donald Trump was, in my lifetime, probably the best president of the United States. Lowest African American unemployment, lowest Hispanic unemployment, lowest women, great economy was booming. There was nothing, peace in the Middle East, peace worldwide, he was on top of everything. So there was nothing other than a tremendous record that he had when he was in office. Certainly a million times better than Dopey Joe the kid sniffer.
Yes, I want this to happen.
No, you should want it to happen because he was brilliant, a brilliant president.
Yes, I absolutely want this to happen.
His track record speaks for himself, Danky boy.
I mean, none of you can deny that 2016 was not one of the funnest fucking...
I'll be looking off the wrong side of the screen. I better look over this way. Go on, Dank. Let's hear it.
...years in internet history. Right, just the banter.
Yeah, the banter was great, but that wasn't why he was put in office. He was put in office because he was competent, not because of memes, but I do understand your point.
The banter, everyone was crying, screaming, laughing. It was just fucking, like, it's called the meme wars for a fucking reason, right? You know, it was a bloodbath. I mean, it was great waking up every morning and logging in to Verdun every single day, right? It was fun, right? It was great. And just any time that Trump tweeted, he opened his mouth, he even just posted Kefefe, and everyone lost their fucking minds, right? It was just glorious. It was so much fucking fun, right? However,
I'm just about to correct you on your however.
I enjoy Donald Trump. I like Donald Trump.
He was highly competent.
Supported him in 2006.
Your guy, Ron Desantis, is very young. I like Ron as well, so I'm not criticising Ron in any sort of way. Ron is still a young man. 4 years from now, even if he waited 4 years from now, it would probably be better for him. But the best situation with him and Donald and Donald pledging him for a VP and Ron actually saying that he'll become Donald Trump's VP, that is the best situation for both of them. So, and Donald would win in a head-to-head with DeSantis, and that might scupper DeSantis, rather than waiting 4 years, has run in for president, and which I'm not wanting to see either. I will not mind a Ron DeSantis presidentship for 8 years.
16. It's DeSantis' time.
It's not, mate. And Donald should have probably, if Donald had been in for the last 4 years and Dopey Joe hadn't made such an arse of it internationally and on a domestic basis, the Americans obviously having a laugh, putting in somebody that's quite clearly senile. But it's not DeSantis' turn. And if DeSantis doesn't play his cards correctly, which he's a very intelligent man, I'm not disputing DeSantis' intellect either. He's a very intelligent man, he gets policy correct. If he doesn't time it properly, even if he has to go in bed the day to become Donald's VP, but it's also in Donald's interest to get him on as VP. And that saves any major problems in the primaries. Then Donald will sweep up on the back of that, and Ron will have 4 years as VP and then potentially 8 years as president. So it's not his time just now. If he goes head to head and loses against Trump, people might not forgive him in the America First project. So, and it's also in Donald's interests. It would be great to have a Hispanic running mate, and I think Ron will be highly competent in his role as a VP, and it'll bloody his teeth for him running as the president in 4 years' time, 4 years after, so probably be 6 years' time.
Sorry, I like DeSantis. I do. Right. I still like Trump. I just don't think...
We all like DeSantis. You just have to do it properly. Another 4 years of Donald Trump and then 8 years of DeSantis. That's better than the two of them fighting each other. It's completely pointless. And one's going to lose and one might get politically damaged and they might be wrong.
They're not going to let him win, right?
They might not, but I think people's heads are up that the Democrats have been stuffing ballots and mail-in ballots. So all you need to do is start to walk about with cameras or get people to stand beside these mail-in ballots to find out, with cameras, to find out why these are posted in multiple post boxes. So you just need to police every one of the postal ballots so that they can't stuff them. That's one of the ways that you'll be able to do it. Also, ballot harvesting, and you should just do that as well. So there's ways that you will be able to defeat them. Do everything that they're doing. So there'll be ways to defeat them.
Because the reason that Trump had like every single media outlet fucking attacking him, bashing him, and had every bit of shady shit like Russiagate, Grab by the Pussy, everything was done to damage him.
There's 6 people who control every media company, so it's an oligopoly. 6 people who control every media company and virtually in the US.
And smear his character and all manners of other stuff. Like, the reason for that is, even though you've got Republicans and Democrats, they're part of the same club.
Do you love Gantt charts? Here's how easily you can build one in ClickUp.
They're part of the same.
Well, you're not wrong. In UK politics, they're all basically WEF parties, and so likewise in the Democrats and in the Republicans, there is that WEF presence, but they're not all the same. The doughballs and the Progressive caucus are just been lobotomised and they're just useful idiots. But there's also quite a strong America First, which is obviously Donald's brand. So you are correct. There is that uniparty that is at the centre, but they're not all the same. So
Donald Trump was not a member of that club.
That's right.
Which is why...
That's why we should vote for him again, Danky Boy.
Democracy and voting has been tweaked somewhat.
Aye.
To ensure that such a thing can never happen again.
Well, I don't necessarily think it can never happen again. I think you're getting defeated before you take to the battlefield. I think we already know what's happened, and by hence why you could actually then address it.
an outsider doesn't get in because the establishment
Well, he got in the last time.
has a plan they want to enact, and having someone as pesky as Trump in there prevents them from doing that. And Trump exposed that. Now everyone, the average man in the streets going, that is kind of weird that all that really strange shit fucking happened. And it woke a lot of people up, right? It woke a lot of people up. However, if, for example, he decides to run as an independent, the Democrats are just going to win. The Democrats are going to win again.
Not necessarily.
That's it. There's not much you can do about that.
No, if DeSantis and Trump run together on the same ticket.
But if he runs as part of the Republican Party again, then they are just going to pull the exact same shit. They're going to...
Yeah, I know, but they lost the first time. And what you'd have to do is get people to oversee and stand at ballots all night in ballot boxes, drop boxes all night.
Pull the exact same shit and Trump's not going to win. However, start
to vote harvest yourself.
DeSantis, I feel that there's a better chance. I feel that there is a better...
Well, that's maybe a feeling that you've got, but it's maybe not the correct feeling. And as I said, a DeSantis Trump ticket is a better than either a single DeSantis or a single Trump ticket.
Better chance of a Republican victory if it's DeSantis.
No, I would say a DeSantis Trump, with Trump being obviously going for the presidency and DeSantis obviously showing after 4 years after him winning that. A DeSantis Trump presidency is better than dopey Joe Biden and cackling Kamala Harris.
Because see, when it comes to things like Drag Queen Story Hour and the fucking brainwashing that's happening in schools in regards to politics and stuff like that.
Yeah, like critical race theory that apparently is getting done through four non-profit organisations. So come on in a minute.
Anything even remotely right-wing is treated as your ultra uber mega Hitler, but leftism, where we control all of your private property and all of your freedoms, is glorious and based and fucking I think I might be a woman. That bullshit. That, and he's getting all of that out of school.
I feel like a woman.
DeSantis is actually doing a lot of stuff to fix everything.
So if he was vice president and Donald would just let him off the leash and he could do that. What you nearly need to fix, which will only be done on a state-by-state basis, and which there wasn't enough red wave to take back the Senate, to take back the House as well, although the Republicans have taken the House. You really need to get Herschel Walker back in. But even on the back of that, there has to be electoral reforms in each of the states, and you should be going into a ballot place and putting your X in the box with valid ID, and the votes should be counted that night. This gerrymandering of the democratic process isn't acceptable.
Actually got boots on the ground and he's actually fixing stuff, which is why I feel he's the better choice. Now, a lot of people are going to be upset about that.
Oh, I'm not really upset. It's just not the correct. It's not correct from a political point of view. Now, Donald has to quash his ego a wee bit and actually ask Ron to stand as VP. But it's the perfect tsunami. It's the perfect fit for Donald as well. From the outside looking in, sometimes when you're in that political position and inside looking out, Donald might not think that, or Ron might not think that, but really for the party, for the American people, for the electability of both parties, that is definitely the best stance that they could have is DeSantis and Trump.
Look, don't get me wrong. This man, this glorious God Emperor, delivered many years of laughs.
Yeah, but he also delivered many years of brilliant policy as well, and had a brilliant economy. America was energy self-reliant, and he did numerous things for the African American community, and which was great as well. Got lowest unemployment for the Hispanic community. So, and for women as well, all of which he was a racist, sexist, what other buzzwords they want to throw about. But it's not just the laughs. I understand you're a comedian and I do get where you come from, but from a political, pragmatic point of view, he was a million times better than Dopey Joe Kid Sniffer.
many years of laughs, many years of crying, screaming, and that we all capitalised on, and we had a great old fucking time, right? I get it, I understand it, but, you know, she's...
No, he's still fine, still going to win it again, and he's going to spend another 4 years making America great, with Ron hopefully by his side. That's the best scenario for everybody.
Your ex for a reason.
Yeah, I think we both know. I think the 2000 Mules had a point of principle to play with him being an ex.
Just saying, you know, I understand that pussy was real good. That pussy was real good, but she's your ex for a reason. I'm just saying. Now, if he wins again, man, Jesus Christ, I'll genuinely be surprised. Holy fuck, that'd be fucking nuclear.
Well, it'd be nuclear, but what you have to look at politics. Politics is just like chess or any other strategic board game. You have to put your positions up and put your players in the right positions. And you're right. I'm not disputing that you're not correct and Desantis is going to be good, but I just think Desantis is a young man, so he's still got plenty of time, unless he's got an illness I don't know about. Desantis, as long as he's around for another 12 years or 12, 14 years, it'll probably be just now, will be capable of being the president in 4 years. In fact, what he would do in the next, he's got another 2 years of being a governor in Florida, and obviously find his replacement, and then he's got 4 years as VP, which will then give him a shoe into all the required positions and give him an understanding before he takes over as president. That's the ideal prep for him to actually become president.
And hilarious. I would don't get me wrong, I would love for Trump to win. Yeah,
well, with DeSantis' help, and with Trump not having been able to swallow a wee bit of his ego, then it's the dream ticket for everybody.
I just don't think they'll let him. I just don't.
Yeah, well, I think it would be very difficult, but I think, we know how they cheated, so I think you can address them cheating in certain manners.
I don't think they'll let him, and I think that we have a much better chance with DeSantis. But it's a case of, do I want the world to be funny, or do I want it to burn?
Well, he didn't burn the world. He did make it funny, but it was also correct. Don't forget, he was bringing peace in the Middle East. He was bringing peace with. So,
I'll let you know when I've made my mind up.
Well, hopefully, manner and start spouting for a Trump DeSantis. Your boy DeSantis can get in 4 years. Watching this, oh my goodness, let's get on. Oh.
Beware. There's something happening. They are living.
That's great enough for you, sir. History. Let's see what Larry's doing. So, I would get Larry a high job, as well as who else was I listening to earlier on? Dave Rubin, and obviously Ron Paul is also excellent as well. Let's listen a wee bit, Dave.
But even the research here, they're monkeying around with bird flu and all these different flus that are very contagious, and they're like saying, well, it's really deadly, but it's not aerosolized. Let's try to make it aerosolized. Yeah. Let's try to adapt this deadly virus that doesn't spread very easily. Let's see if we can make it spread easier. It's a death wish.
I'm Dave Rubin, and joining me today from Washington, D.C. is the just re-elected senator from the great state of Kentucky, Rand Paul. Welcome to the, as you called it, the dungeon, Rubin Report.
Glad to be with you.
All right, so when we booked this trip, we knew we were going to do something post-election. We thought there was going to be some sort of red wave. Thought you guys were going to be in charge of the Senate.
Can we pretend like we're still before the election and there still is the possibility of a red wave?
Did not work out that way. How you feeling?
You know, with my race, very good. We got the highest percentage we've ever gotten. I got about 62%. In most of our rural counties, we got between 70 and 80%. We had 10 counties, we got more than 85% of the vote, 10 counties, more than 80%.
Wow.
Probably altogether about 50 counties, more than 70% of the vote. So that kind of shows a little bit of what's going on nationally. That was from rural counties. We do very well in rural America, not so well in urban America. Mm-hmm. So we have two cities in Kentucky, Louisville and Lexington, that are of any kind of significant size. We lose those 60-40. But I think that's part of the answer to, you know, how we do around the country. You see that we win the geography, we just don't win the population necessarily.
How long do you think that can hold when people look at the map and they see basically an 80 to 90% seemingly red map, and then they see the population centers that are blue, the tension between those two areas?
Well, something's got to give, but we're basically just about evenly divided. I mean, it's hard to believe you can have an election in Georgia and there's an almost even amount, I mean, almost exactly even amount of people on either side of the divide. Yeah. And I think people are voting more just which tribe they think they belong to. People say, oh, it's about candidate quality. Well, frankly, Dr. Oz was a great candidate. I've seen him campaign. He's a great retail campaigner. He was on daytime TV, you know, for goodness, for a decade or more. He's very good with people and very likable, very intelligent, can answer all the questions. And so I don't think it was...
Yeah, so that's quite interesting as well. He's a terrific fellow, this Ron Paul. So if I was Donald Trump, I would get him. He was doing great with Fauci and the Fauci-Ouchie. So I would definitely get him and Larry as well, Larry Elder, who's another terrific fellow as well. And put these guys in competent positions. Let's see what Larry's saying. So Larry's talking about Herschel Walker, who's didn't get the 50%. I think you had to go over 50% to be elected.
Welcome to the program. I'm Larry Elder. Holiday season is here, and I'm proud to bring you one of the best holiday gifts you will ever get this year. That's right, for the first time on the Larry Elder Show, I'm hosting a holiday...
So I think Larry Elder would actually be quite a good press secretary. I don't know if the press secretary... I think the press secretary is a neutral job, and Larry is an actual... professional politician, so I don't know, but I think Larry would be great as the press secretary. Either that or Haley, I can't remember, Haley McEnany, and get her back. She was terrific as well, certainly better than the two Democrat efforts.
Holiday giveaway, and not just any giveaway. These gift boxes are prepared and signed by yours truly, the great Eldersky. So you definitely do not want to miss this. Simply go to winlarry.com to join the giveaway. And do not wait. I will announce 3 winners live on the Larry Elder Show on Epic TV on December the 8th. Again, go to winlarry.com to join the giveaway. I wish you the best of luck. Herschel Walker matters. DeRoy Murdoch is a Fox News contributor and a friend, and he recently wrote this: why GOP needs to rally around Herschel Walker. He gave 3 reasons. All of them were good. 1, a Walker win would return the Senate to today's 50 Democrat, 50 Republican tie. If GOP senators unite, Majority Leader Senator Chuck Schumer could get nothing done without Democrat unanimity, whereupon Vice President Harris would then break the tie. The potential stalemate would also derail Democrats' wackier impulses, such as ditching the filibuster, packing the Supreme Court, nationalizing elections, or turning Washington, D.C. and Puerto Rico into states. 2, a Walker triumph would retire Warnock, a hard lefty with radical, racist, anti-American views. Warnock votes with Joe Biden 99% of the time. His American Conservative Union rating is a piddling 7.7 out of a perfect 100. His 6% National Taxpayers Union score earned him an F.
Larry's a great guy. So I actually don't know what Larry does. I know he stood, I think, for governor of of California. But I don't know what Larry does on a political level. I think he's in California. I'm not sure what he does there.
He voted in August against 18,000 new Border Patrol officers, for 87,000 new IRS agents, and for letting them audit Americans who make less than $400,000 annually. Warnock's proposed an amendment to offer medical coverage to low-income adults in states without Medicaid. He even voted for stimulus checks to prisoners. I kid you not. He said in 2016, America needs to repent for its worship of whiteness. Warnock wrote in 2014
just a racist
14 that the Marxist critique has much to teach the black church.
A racist Marxist, disgusting.
He also said in 2011, America, nobody can serve God and the military. And at various times, Warnock has spoken warmly about the raging anti-Semite Reverend Louis Farrakhan. 3, as Senator Lindsey Graham said, they're trying to destroy Herschel to deter young men and women of color from being Republicans. If they destroy Herschel, it will deter people of color from wanting to be conservative Republicans because you've just had your life ruined.
Well, let me tell you what Schumer said about this race. A 50-50 Senate slows everything down, so it makes a big difference to us. So from Schumer's point of view, Herschel's a nightmare for his desire to change America. From my point of view, he's saving America. So if Schumer thinks Herschel's getting in his way, help Herschel. TeamHerschel.com. $17 million has been spent in the last 10 days on TV ads for Warnock, 5 for Herschel. There's 3 million people watching tonight. If 10% of you gave something, if you could, it raises millions of dollars. We're going to win this race because we can't afford to lose. Herschel is going to change the Senate for the better. Schumer knows this. They're trying to throw everything but the kitchen sink. So what can you do to help this fine man? You can go to the website, give money if you can, pray, vote, and give.
What's this? I'm holding in my baby brown libertarian fingers a pair of My Pillow slippers. It is so soft. It is so luxuriant. And by the way, they come in different styles. And of course, different colors. Guarding the way Democrats have been trashing and dumping on, quote, conservatives of color, where has Lindsey Graham been? Benny Thompson, the chair of the January 6th committee, publicly called Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas and Uncle Tom. When Michael Steele ran for U.S. Senate in Maryland, opponents threw Oreo cookies at his campaign rallies. Winsome Sears, Lieutenant Governor of Virginia, has talked about the names she's been called, and I, of course, have been called the black face of white supremacy, and my views were...
Yeah, that's quite funny. Even the Ku Klux Klan's becoming progressive with Larry Elder becoming the Grand Wizard. They're absolutely nuts. I thought the Ku Klux Klan were Democrats. Just found out something that it was a Jewish guy. I'm sorry, I'm just trying to remember because I saw it on Instagram today. It was an African American fellow who was actually saying this, that it was a Jewish guy that set up the Ku Klux Klan. Guy called Benjamin, something Benjamin. He was on the Confederates' money and he set up the Ku Klux Klan. I didn't know that. I just found that out yesterday. I don't know if it's true. I haven't done any historical research on it.
Code, and I, of course, have been called the black face of white supremacy, and my views were described by an LA Times columnist as white supremacist. A public high school was named after Ben Carson.
But we all know, obviously, the Democrats were the ones. In fact, the Democrats support Antifa, who are a bunch of racists as well, and
Carson in Detroit, where Carson grew up, until he ran for office as a Republican. Then the school board voted 6-1 to remove his name from the school. Why do you think I executive produced a documentary directed by Justin Malone called Uncle Tom?
Obama tore this country down. No one stood up to him. Nobody. Because he was black. You need to wake up.
My parents didn't teach me that I was a victim.
They can turn back voting rights. Didn't nobody donate to us the right to vote?
You was your house nigga. I didn't call you a nigga.
Oh, okay. That's a big difference.
You're Uncle Tom.
And Uncle Tom is somebody who has sold out by embracing the white man.
Uncle Tom,
bedwench,
bootlicker,
black white supremacist,
chucking and jiving,
house Negro,
coon,
Uncle Tom,
coon.
I have a Coon Award over there. Coon of the Year Award. Most black people don't believe that other blacks can be independent, free thinkers.
I believe the legacy and the ancestry of black Americans is being insulted every single day. I will not pretend to be a victim in this country. I know that makes many people on the left uncomfortable.
Racist,
racial,
racism.
1,000 cuts of racism.
The liberal will try to control a black person through the concept of racism because they know that we are very proud, emotional people.
I never felt that because I was black or I was poor or a woman that I couldn't do something.
P standing up.
I grew up being told of my disadvantages, that this country is unfair to black people.
The ideology is implanted into you subconsciously to believe these things.
It's like a cancerous plague in the mind of black Americans.
We're brainwashed to think, well, is it because I'm black?
America's not ours, or we got shipped here. No, our blood is on this soil. We own this too.
There should be a pride that we have in the fact that this country was built by many great black men and women.
Are you trying to say that this country does not specialize in racism and bigotry?
So long as black people continue to have their psyche filled by that nonsense, we won't have an awakening.
I told him I was being wooed by people I respect to run for governor of California in the recall election. And he said he was being wooed to run for senator in Georgia. I didn't know what I wanted to do. He didn't know what he wanted to do, but I said this: if you do it, I'll do it. We shook hands, and we both did. I'll be right back. I know you.
Nice fella, Larry, man. Honestly, yeah, definitely get. I think Larry's going to stand for as a presidential candidate as well. But yeah, I would definitely. Larry's always.
Good evening, and boy, do we have a special episode for you today. Because if you've been following the news, or if you happen to have any kids in school, well, then you're likely well aware that a certain trend of ideology has been creeping its way into our nation's education system. For a while, it was under the surface, but lately, at least in the last several years, it's become more and more overt with more obvious surface-level manifestations. These are things like a kindergarten over in Washington, D.C. having their kids march around the school with BLM signs. a school district over in Seattle claiming that math is actually racist. You have school districts taking kids on field trips to drag shows. And of course, you have more and more curriculum teaching history from a, you can say, revisionist lens. And so, in order to understand how this shift actually took place, who funded it, and what it will ultimately lead to if it doesn't change, well, I took the opportunity to sit down and speak with Mr. Luke Rosaic. He's an investigative reporter with the Daily Wire, and he's also the author of a great new book called The Race to the Bottom. And so, strap yourselves in, smash that like button, and take a listen. Luke, thank you so much for joining us. Maybe to start with, can you please introduce yourself and maybe what initially motivated you to get involved in researching CRT?
Sure, I'm an investigative reporter at the Daily Wire.
Working from home, not working? We'll help you.
Well, hello my baby gorillas, and great news today. Obviously Nigel watches the Guerilla TV channel. Fantastic, great. I said that they should transform into the Reform Party, and they have. Absolutely fantastic news. Over the moon that they've actually done it. What I would suggest, humbly as a strategy going forward, is that they speak to Lawrence Fox. Lawrence Fox is a lovely fella. I really like Lawrence. Every time I hear him, he makes a lot of sense, and he's correct as well. He's politically correct, and I think Nigel should speak. I know he's already spoken to Lawrence, but I think he should speak about bringing the Reclaim Party into the Reform Party. It seems pointless to have two different parties, and they should just come together. Lawrence is not, I think, as good as Nigel, and he's certainly not got as much political gravitas, and it would just split the vote. It would be completely pointless, and I think both of whom are looking at the same
sort of ideas, same direction. Obviously, Nigel needs to start to incorporate other people's ideas in the Reform Party who are of a similar political ilk, and develop the Reform Party as much as can. I would also I would get Gerard Baton. I think Gerard Baton is an excellent politician. I'd like to see Gerard Baton involved. I'd like to see what's her face, the for Britain, Anne-Marie Waters, and who was the other one? David Kushner, who's just started up the new party. All of these parties should just fold in to Nigel's, including UKIP, should all just fold in. Lawrence. There was one other one.
Technology can.
Chloe Smith and William Ragg have announced that they won't be standing at the next general election. It's been reported that a number of other Tory MPs will stand down, as many as 80, by the way, 80. What was Boris Johnson's majority? Majority that you win again? Yes, there you go. Apparently they may well not contest the next general election. Other candidates will have to be found. Well, there's a lot to talk about here, and here to do it is Richard Tice, who is the leader of Reform UK. Richard, thank you very much. Now, when it comes to Conservative Party MPs, allegedly as many as 80 of them, going to throw the towel in and not contest the next election, it does beg the question, what was the point of getting rid of Boris Johnson? The Conservative MPs did that. What was the point of the Conservative MPs getting rid of Liz Truss? What was the point of them imposing Rishi Sunak on us, who then imposed high taxes, low growth, a block on house building, and as far as we can see, cozying up to the European Union? Why don't they have the front to actually stand up to start the next general election?
Well, a very good afternoon, Patrick. Look, the reality is that they are jumping before they're pushed by the electorate, because this is a party that is in, I believe, permanent decline.
Just responding, right? Oh, we're still going. Oh, there he goes. Speak to yourself, Steve. Speak to yourself. Oh, you guys are on. I didn't see any of this. None of this is coming up. Over. Audio break up badly. Audio is awful. Check your connections. Audio is now non-existent. All I can hear is crackling. See any of this? None of this is coming up.